says we're back on board with the circuit here at Pyra. Here's the race leaders. Oh, and there are all sorts of problems.
Oh, big carnage. Oh, straight to the barriers. And through the smoke we come.
What a crack! Oh, crack!
Welcome to this week's Retro Motorsport. First up, it's the noise and the thunder of drag racing. It's the 2010 NZDRA Nationals from Mary Mary.
The Century Yuasa Power Series is the New Zealand Drag Racing Association's season point series. To win the point series, you need to do well at all the rounds of the racing. The most prestigious event to win, however, has always been the Grand Finals, the New Zealand Nationals. Century Yuasa Batteries presents the 42nd New Zealand Drag Racing Nationals, the Prestone New Zealand Nationals. It started back here in November at Fram Autolite Raceway with the Northern Nationals, and then the tour went round the country, ending up back here at Fram Autolite at the Grand Finals.
This is the national finals. This is where it's something really significant to be number one and to win here. This brings out all of the cars. It's going to be important to qualify well, and when that final round comes, if you're in the winner's circle, you've done a tremendous job.
The art of drag racing is making horsepower. Equal art is getting that horsepower onto the track. For that, you need traction. The big tyres and a good sticky track. What we're looking at here is a track that is rubber scraped along it with a traction compound called VHT applied to it. That makes that rubber extra sticky. The temperature in the track is very important. As you can see, it's a soft compound, and the stickiness with the heat of the day, 36 degrees, around about 90 degrees Fahrenheit, 36 degrees Celsius, that is an optimum temperature. The VHT is reacting with the rubber, that reacts with a very soft compound of the tyre, and that's what gives them the bite. We will see cars like Wayne Grimmer and Sam Levine and the likes of pulling massive wheel stands because the horsepower sticking to this stuff gets them that way very, very quickly. Top door slammer action. Our number one qualifier was Ross Taylor in the Taylor & Taylor 57 Chevy. He had a stumble at the start of the season defending his number one. He has started to come right with the win at the Central Nationals. But it's more than that here today.
When you look in the middle of the field, Hussey, Bobby Owens, Mike Woodavine. Mike Woodavine's been consistent not as quick, but he's contended the rounds, and he's just sitting there behind the points. It's going to be a very, very interesting day.
The Grand Finals brings the best racers in the country out. And here is an example. The crew chief for John Nealon in the Digger Dragster, it's Mark Thomas in the Fuchs Oil Custom Line. The top door slammer car has proved already this season he can wheel it off the trailer. At the Southern Nationals, he went to the final and won the finals. So Mark Thomas, although he's not in the hunt for the point series, he is going to be a man to beat at this Nationals. Mark Thomas, first qualifier for Mark Thomas on the custom line. He's got problems. We saw a puff of smoke at mid-track. Mark Thomas has done some damage. We'll have a look at it from behind the car, and you will see just as he goes to half-track, a big puff of smoke. He has leaned out that engine, and he has done some damage. He has hurt the engine. Mark Thomas has got problems.
Had a conservative tune-up on it, but she's lost the head gasket about half-track and had a bit of a fire, unfortunately. Being number 8 cylinder, it's gone through the back, and it's actually come through, jumped 20 millimetres, and come through the back of the engine plate, which is another 6 mil. So, yeah, they've been very happy with the results. We would have liked to have ended on a better note than this, but no, we'll be back bigger and better next year, definitely.
The middle of the field clash in the round one of Top Door Slammer sees Mike Woodavine up against Bobby Owens. Now, Mike Woodavine comes into this meeting just 20 points behind points leader Ross Taylor. But at the opening round of the Nationals, Bob Owens beat Mike Woodavine.
This game is, like everyone knows, it's like a lottery. You're out there, if you're on your game, you're on your game. If you're not, you're not. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. Everyone makes the effort to come to the Nationals, even the drivers. Everyone goes out of their way to be here because the Nationals is the event.
You know, we've done well, and you've got to do the rounds. And again, it comes down to consistency. Anything can happen. We're running second on points. Hard work. A lot of hard work. Consistency is the name of the game.
And consistent Mike Woodavine has been. He's made several finals, yet to pick up the gong as such, but by getting in those finals, he has accumulated a lot of good points. up against Bobby Owens in this round one. And not a good light for Bobby Owens. He's normally better than that on the tree. He's not going to get a second shot at Mike Witteveen. Look at that, Mike Witteveen powers away and takes a good win in round one. Mike Witteveen, valuable points, taking the win off Bobby Owens. Well, a reasonable run there for Mike Witteveen, 7:49 at 183. That's where the car should be at. Wayne Hussey is in this immaculate Chevy Nova. Nitrous oxide supercharging, not mechanical.
This is the biggest event of the year. Huge crowds. Every drag car in the country that can possibly get here does. We're fourth in the points at the moment. There is an outside chance we can win the series if everything goes to plan.
But as we know in drag racing, it doesn't always go to plan. The key is to go fast, you've got to go straight.
When the car gets sideways off the start line, pedal it a couple of times, I put my foot back in it, it started going sideways again. Ross Taylor was vanishing into the distance. It's a waste of time crashing your car over it when you've already lost the race. Things happen quick. When things go wrong, it's a split second, as Perry Hunt will tell you.
We can all still remember that horrible event for Perry Hunt. He debuted his 69 Camaro, the door slammer Camaro, this season and had some success early on, but he had problems at Masterton and it went horribly wrong and a disaster of the worst kind for Perry Hunt. The good news is, however, that Perry is doing all right in himself. He broke a few ribs and was knocked around badly, but he is doing all right and there are plans to rebuild the car and come back racing. But things can go wrong in seconds. A round one of eliminations for Wayne Hussey, he's up against Trevor Smith. Now Trevor Smith hasn't contested a lot of the rounds, but he's playing a spoiler role here at the finals. Wayne Hussey with a job to do to get into the semi-final round. He has to drive past Trevor Smith, and he's making easy work of it. The nitrous kicks in now, the top-end horsepower charge. Easy as you like for Wayne Hussey, 185 miles an hour. The Nova is into the semi-finals. The Team Squig Falcon is quite unique. It's the only car in the class that runs a supercharged big block 4. Might not be the fastest car in the class, but he wins a few races on the way through and he's always there. A unique character, and everybody knows the driver as simply Squig. When Mark Thomas hurt the engine in the Fuchs Oil Custom line, a single run put Squig into the semi-final. Points leader and number one qualifier, Ross Taylor, looking to defend his championship.
It's actually like a jamboree thing where it's a 3-day event and you've got to tell your boss you're not going to be around for your week. Or sometimes something goes wrong, you're back that next day. But yeah, all the people, all the cars come out because it's something to go for. And especially when we're getting weather like this, this is excellent.
A pumped Ross Taylor in the cockpit of the 6-second missile. The adrenaline will be pumping. For Ross Taylor, round one sees him alongside Steve Beatty.
Both in pre-stage, you know that light's coming. You've got to be hungry for that light. Once you get the light, let the button off, let the clutch off, foot goes hard down, and you're there for the ride.
As both cars are inching into stage, you see the two white lights and Ross Taylor's red lit. That is disastrous for Ross Taylor. He just rolled on through the beam too soon. A red light foul gives it an upset win. Steve Beatty takes the win in round one. Ross Taylor's championship fate is now in the hands of Mike Witteveen. Ross, I would leave my helmet on because the crew are going to be filthy with Ross Taylor. Semi-final action and top door slammer later in the show. Castrol Edge Top Alcohol, the premier class in New Zealand drag racing. John Nealon came into this meeting with a comfortable lead. He needed to qualify well and he did that, and it's probably going to be enough to hang on. But no Chris Johnson for the rest of the series. He hurt the engine early, but he's here today.
Yeah, he's here today. I heard it in the pit. Sounds good, looks strong, so he's got to be a contender in there. You'd have to expect that he's really going to push at this meeting. I think the points are too far away from him, but yeah, they've come here with a vengeance.
Do you think they've got a 5 in their car?
Well, like I said, it sounds strong. It's possibly their best chance of getting a 5. The track and the weather look really, really good. This is the chance for him.
Chris Johnson in the Vernon and Vasey half-courts hauler is the defending New Zealand number 1 in Castrol Edge Top Alcohol. Now, we know he hurt an engine at the opening round of the season, but he is here on a mission. He wants to win this meeting. The man he wants to beat, most of all, would have to be John Nealon. he has a single pass in the first round of eliminations because of casualties from the other competitors. So a single pass for Chris Johnson, and he nets a 6-0. He has almost got that 5 he's been chasing. For Todd Vincent to win the championship, he has to get out of round number 1 and take the wins. He could still be New Zealand's youngest top alcohol champion.
We can make some small changes in the clutch and get it down to those 6.0s again. And hopefully now the sun's come out a little bit today, the track will be a bit stickier and we might have a shot at the low 6.0 or maybe even a 5.9 if we get it honking along.
Todd's opponent in round 1 is the service engineered dragster driven by Shane Lodge. Now Shane hasn't had the best of seasons and all sorts of things have gone wrong for him, but he has won at this racetrack, and Todd Vincent will know that. When they met in the final about a year ago, it was Shane Lodge that went home with the glory. Shane Lodge against Todd Vincent, round 1 of Castrol Edge Top Alcohol. But it is no start for Shane Lodge. It is all one-way traffic for Todd Vincent, who has a single pass as Shane Lodge cannot get the race car off the start line. That is the win that Todd Vincent wants. That'll put him into the semi-final round, but that sums up the year for Shane Lodge and the Service Engineers Dragster. More Castrol Edge Top Alcohol action later in the show. In our supercharged outlaw bracket, Paul Sattler is the defending number 1. How's he looking today?
Oh, right, but I sort of like the look of Evan Nicol. He's come up from Christchurch, that little really tough supercharged Ford pop wagon. Could be the one to beat.
Yeah, not going to be easy for you, Paul. Supercharged outlaw bracket is a bracket for all forms of race car as long as you've got a mechanical supercharger on there. The racing's format is DYO, but the drivers nominate the time they expect to do. Defending number 1 is immaculate front engine dragster of Paul Sattler, the Vindicator.
I live and breathe it, and so do my crew. We just live and breathe drag racing and hot rodding. That's our roots, and we enjoy the old stuff where it originated from, and we enjoy it. It's an old car, and the old fellas driving it and helping on the crew aren't too bad either.
We go straight to Supercharged Outlaw Finals action, and as many anticipated, it is Evan Nicol in the Ford Pop Ute up against the front engine dragster of Paul Sattler. Side by side, half a second between them in the handicap start, and it is horsepower to the finish line now. Paul Sattler's got a wheel in front, and you can see he's got a strong straight run, and it is Paul Sattler that takes victory at the finish line by a good car length. Paul Sattler getting the win, and as we look to the result, it is in fact a red light foul from Evan Nicol. So Evan Nicol, there it is, he left early, so Paul Sattler had the race won and drove on by. Supergas, our fixed index bracket. The top names of Supergas this season have been Linda Zarodny and Phil Hargreaves.
Yeah, you'd have to say that Linda Zarodny would be your pick, although when she comes under pressure, her car's a wee bit faster than the fixed bracket, 9.9 seconds. It's going to be tough on this round.
Yeah, of course, if you break out and go under 990, you lose. It's a penalty she might have to try and protect. Linda Zarodny is defending New Zealand number 1. In the semi-final round, she comes up against Paul Hammond. He's only contested one meeting this series, but he won that meeting. Now, in 990, the fixed index, you've still got to be the first car to the finish line. If you do go under 9.9 seconds, you will be disqualified for breaking out, but you still want to beat your opponent across the line. And it is very, very tight racing indeed. And unfortunately for Linda Zarodny, a red light foul at the start has given Paul Hammond an easy win. They both went under 990, but a red light foul offence against Linda gives Paul the semi-final win. Our second semi-final sees Todd Carter in the Viva up against Phil Hargreaves in the HQ Holden. Now, both of these cars are running big block Chevrolets. In qualifying, they qualified with similar times of 9.9 seconds. So it should be a very tight race. But you can clearly see Phil Hargreaves has got it all right. Todd Carter's got problems and beaten by a good car length. Phil Hargreaves goes into the final against Paul Hammond, and he made it look so easy. That is a whipping in Supergas racing.
Well, I hope my car's running strong. It was running strong yesterday, so we'll just go hard and see what happens. Friday night was really, really good, but I think today will be all right. I haven't checked the barometer yet or anything, but I'm thinking we should be able to do the number easy anyway.
Super Gas final sees Phil Hargreaves in the Holden against the Chrysler of Paul Hammond. A heads-up start for the racers, and it is the better start for Paul Hammond. A wheel in front by quarter track. It is horsepower kicking in now. Big block Chev over Mopar. It is going to be Phil Hargreaves. He has won the championship by 2 points. That is qualifying points he has earned through the season, has given him the win. Look at the victory there. That is a great win for Phil Hargreaves, Super Gas champion. Fast Parts Super Street. In Fast Parts Super Street, Scotty Campbell won the opening meeting, but since then it's all been...
Well, Gary Ellis and Rod Chesham, they're just a unit to themselves, they two. Travel around the country, super consistent. They are two fast cars. 11 and 12 second passes in street cars. Well, I don't know who to pick in amongst this, we'll see.
They take turns winning around the country. Who's going to win here today? The championship is going to be decided from the winner in this pair, Gary Ellis and Rod Chesham. A clean start from both races, and you can see Rob Chesham slightly in front by virtue of the handicap. So Gary Ellis has to have the horsepower to drive around him, and he's got him on the line. Gary Ellis has done it. He has driven past Rob Chesham. He's taken it. The handicap start and Dial Your Own Racing. Gary Ellis backed himself to drive past Rob Chesham. He's done it. He's won the championship by just 4 points. Sport Compact shows us the best in Japanese technology. In Sport Compact, we've seen names like David Stock, Matthew Buttermore, Corey Abbott and Rhys McGregor.
Corey Abbott, what a man to watch. Qualifying, smashed the record, put 0.2 under, a car of the future.
Corey Abbott has only contested one round of the National Series, but he won.
It's a 93 RX-7. It's powered by the same sort of motor that come out in from the factory, but albeit with a bigger turbo. It's on methanol fuel.
Both of these cars feature in the record book. Rhys McGregor in the Godzilla, Corey Abbott in the RX-7. It is going to be a tight race in round 2 of Sport Compact. A good start is going to be paramount. They will leave as one, spooling up the turbos, and a good start from both races. It is now the horsepower chase. Corey Abbott in front at half track. Now Rhys McGregor's horsepower will kick in. Down to the finish line, McGregor gets him at the line. McGregor crosses the line first, but there is controversy. A infringement on the start line by one of the heat treatment's crew putting a foot in the beam means Corey Abbott is accredited with the win. A start line infringement from a crew member. How cruel is that for Rhys McGregor? Mazim Shalash warms the slicks in the rotor-powered Toyota Starlet. His opponent in this race is David Stock. David Stock set a world record in his Evo in Masterton just 1 month ago. The light comes down now, and it's David Stock with some work to do on the start line. He has crossed the centre line. That is an instant disqualification for David Stock. So a win for Mazim Shalash, but David Stock just driving now for pride. He gets to the finish line first, but disqualified off the start line. Our Sport Compact final features Matt Buttermore in the RX-4 against Corey Abbott.
We have to be careful once we push on our index like we have today, that we have to race against that index if we reset it. So we do have to be careful, but ETs is where it's at as well. So, I mean, it's a fine line, to be honest. Matthew
Buttermore comes into this meeting as points leader. He's up against the man that's on a mission today and already set a new record, Corey Abbott. A good start from both races. You see it lifting the wheels. Now to the horsepower. Who's got the driver skill? But a straight, strong run from Corey Abbott that gives him a new national record and the win at the finals. Matthew Buttermore has enough to hang on and be the series champion, but a good victory in Sport Compact for Corey Abbott. Modified Comcar DYO. Nobody has been able to beat Andy Chapman in Century Batteries Modified this year, but he's got a target on his back. They all want to do it.
Yeah, Ian Metz especially, and Adrian and Nicole Rivers from Romanui, they share the drive, the young guns, and not far behind them, and they'll be gunning for him today.
Andy Chapman, 3 times New Zealand #1 in Century Batteries Modified.
That engine I had in my 27 Roadster. Prior to that, it's done over 500 passes, that engine. The Rivers, Adrian and Nicole, yeah, they've had a real tough season. They haven't found what's wrong with their car, but they're only 30 points behind me in the points. It's going to be anyone's day.
They may have wanted to stay away from each other until the final, but if they want to win the championship, they're going to have to beat each other somewhere along the day. Semi-final it is, and it is Andy Chapman that's got the work to do. He is chasing the Blues Brothers dragster. Nicole Rivers doing the good drive, and Andy Chapman, I'm not sure whether he's done enough to get there. We'll have another look at it. On the line, has Andy Chapman got there? Has the Rivers dragster got it? You can't see from that angle. The championship is on the line. Have a look from the top. There it is for Andy Chapman. That is the win. Our second semi-final in Century Batteries Modified sees Kenny West in the T-Bucket up against Phil Hurst in the 4-cylinder Altered. The engine in that Altered is a Fontana, 166 cubic inches, 4-cylinder Ford, up against the V8 of Kenny West T-Bucket. Phil Hurst drifting towards the centre line. Kenny West right on his wheel at the finish line. Kenny West gets there. Ken West by half a wheel beats Phil Hurst. If he hadn't have drifted to that centre line, Phil Hurst might have had it. But Ken West, that is the biggest win of his career.
I reckon 7,000 or 8,000 this season, and that's including your travel and accommodation, as long as you don't bust them. Yeah. It's when you're breaking stuff, that's when it really starts costing.
So, as Andy Chapman has said, it's not unaffordable, but definitely preparation avoids your breaking stuff. Here we are, the Century Batteries final and modified. A handicap start, DYO Racing, remember. Kenny West is the first car away. Andy Chapman doing the chasing. He does that well, and he chases you down on the line, and he drives past at the line. Andy Chapman takes the win, wins the finals. 4 times New Zealand #1 in modified. The only racer to win it 4 times. Exhibition time at the Century UASA Power Series, and it's nitromethane, the ultimate in racing fuel of drag racing. And first up, we have the nostalgia-style nitro funny car of Carl Boniface. It's a 1974 Chevy Vega body. This is exactly how the nitro funny cars were racing in the 70s and early 80s. Very high at the back, but the nitromethane fuel still meant that they were producing in excess of 3,000 horsepower. Lots of clutch dust as he gets the Vega down the track, and it is a good run from Carl Boniface. In 74, it's running a 6.89, 204 miles an hour for Carl Boniface. That is an impressive personal best run at Fram Autolife Dragway. Carl Boniface, and now we move up with technology and we move on to Willie White's Nitro Funny Car. This is the type of funny car you will be see on the National Series in NHRA in the USA. Willie White in the funny car. 8,000 estimated horsepower. Very hard to get it accurate because it all depends on air-fuel mixture on the day. Some of our Century UASA VIPs being treated to the action on the start line. They say with nitromethane racing, you can hear it, you can smell it, and you can certainly feel it. They'll be getting it down there on the start line. As Willie White launches the power down the track, and the flames of nitromethane, he shuts it down at half track, and it still goes through with a 6.0 at 144. Have a look at those orange flames. He's got off the throttle by half track, and it's got enough horsepower and momentum. He rolls through with a 6.0 quarter-mile pass. That is technology and nitromethane drag racing. Top fuel here in New Zealand. And when you experience it, you never forget it. The entry level in drag racing of New Zealand is junior drag racing. You can start racing from age 6 right up to license age when you go into the open field. Coming into this meeting, Sean Binnemer has won the point series. He's got enough points accumulated. Our final here today sees Karen Price against Gareth Rogers. They race the half track, and it is Gareth Rogers that gets there in lane 2. Competition bike this season has been dominated by Dean Veal, but he wants more.
Winning's the main thing, I guess, and something with a 7 in front of it will be good as well. A few guys have done 7s. Phil Nunn next door's run a 7 on his nitrous bike. I ran a 7 a couple of weeks ago at the club meeting. But it'd be good to do it at the national meeting and get the record.
Drag racing, like so many sports, is about personal challenges. And for Dean Veal, he dearly wants to get that 7 and be the first person to run a 7-second quarter mile on a normally aspirated bike. A classic final here in Comp Bike. It is the Harley Davidson of Ray Pratt up against the Suzuki Hayabusa of Dean Veal. The handicap start by virtue of the different classes of motorbike. And now Dean Veal is chasing him down and he's driving right on by. He's going to get a 7. That is a brilliant pass by Dean Veal to take the win, to take the championship. A 7.92 for Dean Veal. He's done it. He has got the record. He has got the title. UASA Batteries Modified Bike. Modified bike is the dial your own bracket for the bike riders, as opposed to a class index. Rob Finley and Ross Donaldson. A classic battle here as a Harley Davidson is taking on a Kawasaki. And the Harley Davidson rides right around the Kawasaki. Rob Finley takes the win over Ross Donaldson in modified bike. The Century UASA Power Series of drag racing will be right back. Welcome back to the Century UASA Power Series action. As the crowd settles in for the afternoon action, we go to Competition Eliminator. In Competition Eliminator, coming into this meeting, leading the point series is Alan Ryder from Balclutha. But this is not Balclutha, and a lot of local races, this is their home track.
Yeah, indeed. You'd have to look at Robbie Ward, the stunning performance in the Skyline Powered Dragster. 7.3 seconds, he's 0.5 under the index. The Marsh Motorsport Dragster, again, small block forward. The young lad, Anthony Marsh, very, very quick. And Trevor Watson, a little Peugeot-built dragster, 0.4 under the index for him. He would be another man to watch.
Robbie Ward has impressed all season, but he has another target in sight.
Taking a tenth off every run and getting there, so yeah, I'm very happy. It's actually a street engine, believe it or not. It's just one of our normal fully water-cooled stock block, stock crank. The engine's 2 years old. It's the motor out of the 240Z. Still haven't changed the oil, still haven't changed the spark plugs. It's done a huge amount of work, and it's basically what we use to we use the car to test the engines, and I haven't been able to blow it up yet, so that's the plan before too long, is to be able to thrash it enough to hurt it. So yeah, I'm just over the moon. The car's very heavy. It's 950 kilos, so you know, we're probably one of the heavier cars in our class. We're 300 kilos overweight and still very, very competitive, so I'm absolutely wrapped.
Seen here in his number one qualifying pass of a 7.26.
Another thing that we'd really like to be able to do at some stage is if we get a 717, that will be the world's fastest RB of any type in any car. The record's held by HKS in Japan at the moment with a 718 in their 180SX. So if we can run a 717, this will be the quickest RB engine in history.
In elimination round one, we see Robbie Ward up against Karen Hay, who in her own right wants to try and be the fastest female racer in New Zealand. She's chasing a record set by Faye Grant just a few years ago. First pairing on the track, Robbie Ward in the dragster, Karen Hay in the Evil 2 27T Roadster. As the tree comes down, Karen Hay with problems off the line, and she's slowing, and she just sees Robbie Ward drive away to his first run of the morning, 7.40 for Robbie, and he is into the semi-finals from here, and Karen will have to wait for another day. Our second pairing sees Phil Hodder in his Altered up against Anthony Marsh in the dragster. Now Anthony has driven this car to the quickest elapsed time that it's done, but he has another target also. They're aiming at a world record for a normally aspirated engine.
200, hopefully a 675 would be nice, but there's quite a big headwind today, so we'll see what we can do. This is going to be the last meeting for the car. We're going to get rid of it. We've brought a new car already, so see what happens, hopefully this weekend.
Well, our fingers are crossed for you, Anthony, as the crew go about their final duty on the start line. Anthony Marsh against Phil Hodder. A good start from both races and a good straight run from both races. They're side by side. Now the dragster pulls away. Anthony Marsh, it's a good run. It's a 6 at 680. He doesn't get the 200 at just 196 miles an hour for Anthony Marsh, but they are into the next round. Our final pairing in Competition Eliminator sees the points leader, and by just making the round one, will hold on to the lead and the championship, Alan Ryder, and he is up against Trevor Watson in what is one of the world's first rear-engine dragsters.
We originally built it way back in 1967 on a brilliant idea from Rex that we needed some sort of a chain drive, but we wanted it sort of made by ourselves. It is Rex's original idea. It was a rear-engine car that was started before Don Garlett's built the first one in the States. It has got it's chain-driven. It has got, it's just a totally home sorted out design. And as far as I know, there's not anything like it in the rest of the world. It is totally unique and individual to Rex.
Alan Ryder against Trevor Watson. Now there will be a big handicap start between these two dragsters. And that is because the handicap is calculated to do with power to weight. And the lighter car, smaller engine, gets a head start. And Trevor Watson is just driving away from the points leader. Right on the rev limiter, Trevor Watson through the finish line for the win.
The Nationals is one event everyone wants to win, and we want to win it. But in saying that, if we don't, we still love being here. But we never give up trying.
It's the Nationals. It's the biggest meeting of the year. You can lose every other meeting, but this one's the one to win.
Well, they both want to win the semi-final, but for Anthony Marsh or Trevor Watson, only one of them can win. The other one is going home. Anthony Marsh, Trevor Watson. The little car is away first. Anthony Marsh is doing the chasing. Now keep in mind, if Anthony Marsh can do a 670 or Trevor Watson can do a 920, that'll be the win. And Watson gets it again, right on the stripes. You see the white stripes on the track. Have a look from this angle, through the speed trap. Trevor Watson by a car length over Anthony Marsh.
It's all about not only the drag racing, the really neat people, sitting around, having a few drinks and discussions and, all the carry-ons afterwards. We do it because we love drag racing. And as far as the foreseeable future going, we're still coming down here, having an awesome time, meeting everyone we know, and life's great. Mr. Rip's down here, who is sort of the modern version of where we started sort of thing with the way the sport's evolving sort of thing,
735 he just reeled off.
Yeah, so it makes life tough, but at the end of the day, you've got to be at the end to win, and we get lucky more often. So that's cool. We'll go with that.
The contrasting styles of race car that make up the New Zealand Drag Racing Series. Robbie Ward with the RB30 Nissan-powered front-engine dragster, and Trevor Watson with the Peugeot-powered rear-engine dragster. Now a handicap start will give Trevor Watson a head start. Robbie Ward will be doing the chasing. But never underestimate the little guy, Robbie. And a foul on the start line for Robbie Ward. He was too keen to get away, and Trevor Watson has got the title. He has won the New Zealand Nationals. The Century Yuasa Power Series win is going to Trevor Watson. The crew are happy with that. Trevor Watson takes another championship.
What an amazing, incredible, fantastic day for an old fella. Absolutely blown away. They always used to call us Jack the Giant Killer, and sometimes it works, most of it don't, but it's really, their feeling is incredible. And all due to my mate Rexy, the most incredible engineer in the world, as far as I'm concerned. Fantastic. 65's okay.
Winning a drag race is for everyone, and Trevor Watson is testimony to that. VHT Super Sedan. A first round appearance by points leader John McGinty meant he had done enough to secure his second consecutive New Zealand #1 title. He comes up against Phil Webber in the Chevy Coupe, but problems for John McGinty, and for the first time in 2 years the truck has to get pushed off the start line.
The oil pump drive broke, so no oil pressure, can't run.
Last season, we had a three-way battle at the top of the ladder in Super Sedan between Phil Webber in the Chevy Coupe, the Pro Dual Quartermaster, and John McGinty. Now, John McGinty won it last year, and he's won it again this season.
It would have been good to have that, but I've had 4 wins this season, so I'm doing reasonable.
Lee Sherwin and the Pro Dual Quartermaster team have done enough to hang on to second place, but they're up against an old master in Dave Levine. Now, Dave Levine has probably been racing cars about as long as Lee Sherwin has been alive. So Dave Levine knows how to cut a light, and he knows how to run a consistent track. Both of these cars are mid-9-second cars. It is a good start for both of them. They are side by side at half track. There is going to be no advantage either way. Down to the finish line, Dave Levine gets there. Dave Levine right on the line by virtue of a breakout from Lee Sherwin. You can see the quartermaster gets to the finish line first, but he went under his dial in time and gives the win back to Dave Levine.
It's a rear Morrison 540 cubic inch, around 900 horsepower.
Nice.
So it gets down the track nice and straight. We've travelled about 8 hours to get here from down the bottom of the North Island, so yeah, it's a big trip for us, big weekend.
Making up our VHT Super Sedan final is Dave Levine in the 1964 Plymouth Belvedere and Rex Duckett in the 1988 Corvette. Different body styles, but they all run in Super Sedan. It is dial your own racing, so the racer elects the time they expect their car to do. It'll be wheels up action, I would expect, from Dave Levine as this big heavy Plymouth lifts those wheels well, but unfortunately he's gone too soon and you can see a red light at the bottom of the tree. So it is all Rex Duckett's this race. Dave Levine, he keeps his foot in it and gets to the finish line first, but all in vain for Dave Levine. Rex Duckett wins the Super Sedan final by virtue of a red light foul by the old master Dave Levine. Rex Duckett with the biggest win of the season for him, a strong straight win at the Prestone New Zealand Nationals. Top Street. What would the Century Yuasa Power Series be without wheels up, start line action and Top Street?
You'd have to say that in Top Street it will be tough action, but you're going to have to break the record to win this class.
The Top Street division is made up of full-bodied, street-appearing cars. They don't have to be street legal, but they have to have the full appearance of a street legal car. In our first race, we see Mike Healy in the RX-7 up against Glenn Boyd in the Tirana. The race cars will be racing against their class record, so there will be a handicap start, but it's not set by the drivers as in Dial Your Own. And you can see Glenn Boyd is going way quicker than Mike Healy, and he will get to the stripe first, going a lot quicker than his D Top Street record. Glenn Boyd, fresh car this season, taking the win.
We're just looking at the championship. We're not looking at breaking any records, just as long as we don't hurt anything and we can stage in that first round and go from there. We've got to stage and take the green in the first round of competitions. So, yeah, but it's all about trying to get the car back and faster, and we sat down and done maths with this car, myself, my son's car and the juniors, and yeah, both about the same points ahead. So
we're given Top Street a go today, so we'll see how we go. There's some hard races in Top Street, so we'll have to be on our game to be competitive. We're not in the National Championship, but even just to win the Nationals as an event on its own is still an achievement. So, you know, yeah, well, that's what we're here to try and do, how we get on. It's another story. I think the track's extremely good out there. It's sticky as anything. The first run today, we did a big wheel stand and damaged all our front suspension brackets, so we're fixing that now. Get ready for the next one. So the track's exceptional and the weather's coming round. It looks really good.
It's been a long season for all the racers, but especially the Binnema family, who have travelled from Belclutha for every round of the National Series. Up against Reese Fish here in this race, and Reese Fish gets to the finish line first. But again, controversy on the start line sees Reese Fish disqualified by a crew member's infringement on the start line. He gets very close to the centre line and he crosses the finish line first, but Roger Binnema will be accredited the win, and that'll definitely cement his #1 in the championship point series. But Reese Fish disqualified by a crew member having a foot in a start line beam.
Drag Masters, where we did that record-breaking time, it set the benchmark in the class. We've had a couple of issues, but yeah, technically, although not in the points chase, as far as time and index, we're the car to beat. It did rock the boat. The previous couple of Top Street guys had a pretty strong hold on it. Well, 3 of them did, and we come and launched in there, and we were away with it. The actual national event, which this is, although it's part of the series, to come through and actually have that accolade alone is worth it, and that's really our goal for this weekend. Really welcome the other guys coming across. It's great to see Reese Fish and Adam Wigg and come across, and they realise that, you know, there's a lot of fun on Top Street. If your car's close to the index, and that's all you got to be.
Our next pair in round 1 of Top Street sees Jeff Dobson in the Pertec Camaro up against Adam Wigg in the V8 Nissan-powered Skyline. Clean start for Jeff Dobson, and he's well away, but problems for Adam Wigg. You can see it's smoking very heavy off the start line. He does well, pulls the chute to try and pull the car up as quick as we can. He's not sure what's wrong with it. It could be losing oil on the track, but an easy win for Jeff Dobson, and clearly you can see there Adam Wigg and the X-Side Skyline. The day is over. The next round, Jeff Dobson will meet the winner of our next pair, and guess who it is? Wayne Grimmer and Sam Levine.
It's a pretty safe bet. I think Roger's got it sewn up this weekend. I think if he qualifies, he's pretty much got it wrapped up. But we'll probably end up. We're still going to try and keep Jeff off our back so we can come hold on to our second place. That's the big thing now, and I think Jeff's just run a new national record of 8:09, so it's going to be very tough to beat. But even so, the New Zealand Nationals is such a prestigious event with as a standalone event. If we could just win the Nationals, that'd be great. So we're trying to win this weekend regardless.
A lot of the guys have done a lot of miles this year, travelling around to Christchurch and Masterton, Taupo, trying to chase those points to be the national champs. So yeah, the goals for this weekend is obviously win. We've got a few cars that are under the index a bit, but we'll do the best we can, cut a good line. That's all we can do.
Wayne Grimmer and Sam Levine have met plenty of times before, and in fact they made up the final here at the New Zealand Nationals 1 year ago. They meet in the first round, so one of them's going to get eliminated early. Sam Levine in the Plymouth Duster, Wayne Grimmer in the Plymouth Barracuda. Wayne Grimmer has a few more cubic inches, so Sam Levine has to cut a better light if he's got any show of beating Wayne Grimmer. But you can see the horsepower. If he's not in front by the three-quarter track, Sam Levine is never going to catch Wayne Grimmer, who runs at 8:28 at over 160 miles an hour. That is a full-body Plymouth, and the big wheel stand from Sam Levine looked good, but unfortunately his racing is over today, and Wayne Grimmer will progress through into the semi-final round where he will meet Jeff Dobson. On the other side of the ladder, it's going to be Glenn Boyd up against Roger Binnimer.
Oh, this car's been really great. Everybody loves the car and where it wheel stands, and yeah, I've got it. Heat support. Everyone tells me how great it is, and yeah, it's been an awesome car. Yeah. It's such a cool car to drive as well.
In our first semi-final, the racing boot is on the other foot. It is now Wayne Grimmer that has to find a couple of tenths. Jeff Dobson has got a couple of tenths quicker than Wayne Grimmer this season, so Wayne Grimmer needs to cut a light, and he does exactly that. He gets out of the hole very quick ahead of Jeff Dobson. Now Jeff Dobson is doing a chasing, which is something he's not used to, and he's not going to catch Wayne Grimmer. Wayne Grimmer takes it all the way, gets in front, stays in front. He takes the win in the semi-final. He will go into the final knowing that he has just beaten the man in the lane next to him who should have been quicker than him. Wayne Grimmer, he knows how to win drag races. The second semi-final sees Roger Binnimer up against Glenn Boyd. Now we know that Roger Binnimer has already won the series championship. For Glenn Boyd, it's the first time we've seen this car this season. He did bring it out last season, but just the once this season. So he should have a big head start because the D Top Street Index hasn't been touched much this season. Roger Binnimer knows he doesn't have to break the car. He's won the championship and he's never going to catch Glenn Boyd, so he just takes it easy as it looks, and Glenn Boyd will take the win and he will go into the Top Street final against Wayne Grimmer. It looked like a big handicap. It really was a big ask for Roger Binnimer at the end of a long, hard season. But he is a seasoned racer who knows how to win points championships, and he's done exactly that for the second consecutive year. A good win for Glenn Boyd, and it sets up a beautiful Top Street final. Glenn Boyd in the Tirana and the Plymouth Barracuda of Wayne Grimmer. So let's get that action on the track. Wayne Grimmer in the Barracuda, warming up the hides. The Tirana of Glenn Boyd in the right-hand lane again. He's stuck with that lane all weekend. Wayne Grimmer, he is in lane one. You will see the wheels up, but Wayne Grimmer will be chasing Glenn Boyd. He's got a softer index, and it should go in favour of Glenn Boyd. But Wayne Grimmer, a seasoned racer, raced a number of years back with Clay Tocker in the L's blower drive altered, so he knows how to win championships. He's going to make Glenn Boyd work for it, but he can't quite do it. Glenn Boyd has got enough. He'll take the win, and Glenn Boyd will win over Wayne Grimmer. Have a look at the replay. The wheels up start, and Wayne Grimmer, a low 8-second car, but just not enough at the finish line, and Glenn Boyd, the Tirana, taking the win. Wayne Grimmer could have done another of those 8:28s. He would have needed it here. But look at the speed difference. 163 for Wayne Grimmer, 148 for Glenn Boyd, and look how quickly Wayne Grimmer pulls away from Glenn Boyd after the finish line. Top door slammer action, semi-finals time. Our first pairing in the semi-finals sees Mike Woodavine in the Ferrari, who must win this race if he wants to win the championship. He is up against Steve Beatty in the 55 Chevy. Now, Steve Beatty knocked out the points leader, Ross Taylor, in the first round. Mike Woodavine would like to think he can beat Steve Beatty, but Steve Beatty, although the car is work in progress, he's already taken the number one man out of competition. So Mike Woodavine under a lot of pressure here to get into that final and secure the championship. And Steve Beatty is going to make him work for it. Steve Beatty is alongside him, but you see the blowout come off, and that is enough for Mike Witteveen. He just pulls away in that last quarter of the track. Steve Beatty, if you have a look at the replay, about the mid-track, you'll see the blowout in the 55 Chevy just come out of the bonnet there, and that is it. He's lost his boost, and the Ferrari pulls away. Mike Witteveen will take the win into the final, and he will be happy with that. He has got the championship points now, and he is into the final against the winner of this pair. Team Squig in the XP Falcon and Wayne Hussey in the nitrous Chevy Nova. Have a look at the burnout from Wayne Hussey. As he backs the car up, you will see him purge the nitrous oxide. 2 jets of pure nitrous oxide will come out from just in front of the driver's screen. That is just to clear the lines and ensure that it is full of pure nitrous oxide. And that is going to be injected into the car and make that extra horsepower that he hoped would get him to the winning line first. For Team Squig, it's a mechanical supercharger, just forcing air in there and adding more fuel. But you can see the nitrous oxide, the second half of the track, it just pulls away, and Wayne Hussey makes it as easy as you like. It's going to be a final between the Nova of Wayne Hussey, the Ferrari of Mike Witteveen, and there, have a look at this. The replay shows the nitrous second half of the racetrack. It is just a big punch in the back, and he goes through to take the win. Wayne Hussey, Mike Witteveen, Top Door Slammer final. The Top Door Slammer final features the Ferrari of Mike Witteveen and the Chevy Nova of Wayne Hussey. Wayne Hussey qualified number 2 in the field. Mike Witteveen qualified number 5. 2 and 5. A lot of people wouldn't have picked that at the start of the weekend. But this is the final for Mike Witteveen. He's got a lot at stake. He's got the championship, and he can go home with the double of championship and Prestone New Zealand Nationals title. For Wayne Hussey, the championship is out of reach. So for him, one goal in mind, and that is the Prestone New Zealand Nationals trophy. It is finals time now. It is down to the 2 drivers in the cars on the track. And an even start, so no advantage either way, but you can see the Nova has got a lot more horsepower than Mike Witteveen, and the nitrous oxide, he gets to the centre of the track, Wayne Hussey, but he drives it through and will take an easy victory and the national title for Wayne Hussey in the Chevy Nova.
We missed one meeting at the beginning of the series, and we have struggled a bit this season with traction problems and getting the 4-link set up right and that, but it all came together in the end today, and I've never won at the Nationals before, so I'm quite happy with that. We advanced the timing a tad and gave it a tad more nitrous. We had the traction problem sorted with the 4-link, and it launched very hard. Got a bit loose further up the track, and I did have to lift my foot once. I put it back in it, and it all came together at the end there, and that's the main thing.
Wayne Hussey wins the day. Mike Witteveen wins the National Series.
Apparently we're number 1. Still not 100% sure on what the point situation is. Shame today at Ross Taylor, Redlet. He'll be gutted over there, I'm telling you now. He is. Bobby Owens, beat him, first round. Me and Bobby always have a good one, you know, knocked him out. And yeah, no, we've had a good season, and just see what happens with these points. I'm pretty sure we're roughly about 10, 12 points in front. It's a milestone for me. It's great achievement. To come off number 1, if we are number 1, I'm very happy with that.
This is what we've been waiting for. Castrol Edge, Top Alcohol semi-finals.
We came down and did some testing a couple of weeks ago and did 5 runs without hurting anything. And they were all 6.0s, so I was quite happy with that.
With the casualty to race cars and Castrol Edge Top Alcohol, Chris Johnson has a single pass in the semi-final. He should have met Bruce Smith, but Bruce Smith hit an engine in the first round. So for Chris Johnson, it is a single pass, but he will go about his procedure, and he's aiming at that 5-second pass in the dragster.
I think I'd just like to go out there and just concentrate on what we're doing, and I think if we get the tune-up right and the track comes right, I think the 5 will come to us, so I'm not going looking for it. I'm just hoping it'll turn up by itself.
A 5-second pass is a big deal in Top Alcohol in New Zealand. Only 2 other people have done it before, and both of those races, Tim Watkins and John Nealon, have a Hemi engine in their race car. Chris Johnson doesn't have a Hemi engine, and he wants to do a 5-second pass with the cast iron Chevy that he's got. And this is a good run. It is a straight run. It is a strong run. It could be a 5 for Chris Johnson. It is a 5. Have a look at the numbers. 5.99 at 228 miles an hour. They have done it. The Vernon and Vasey Harcourt Dragster is now just one of 3 alcohol races in New Zealand that have done a 5-second pass. The elation from the driver fairly obvious there. The crew are wrapped, and other crews, track officials congratulating them on making the milestone. Let's have another look at it. To run a personal best, you have to get everything right on the entire run. And for Chris Johnson, he did exactly that. As he left out of the start line, he would have been rattling around those tyres looking for every little bit of traction there was. There's the man that built the engine, Tony Marsh. Have a look at this run. He gets slightly off to the right of the centre line, but the whole way down, he is focused on that centre line. As you see, slightly right of centre, back on the centre there for Chris Johnson. As he goes through the finish line, back on that centre line and stays in the groove.
No, I'm wrapped for him. You know, to have him in the 5s is absolutely fantastic, you know. Absolutely brilliant. I don't think it'll take much now. We'll have 3, maybe 4 cars running 5s, which will be a whole new league.
Well, John Nealon has seemed to be able to run 5s at will this season. But the man alongside him, Todd Vincent, there was a bit of a private battle with Chris Johnson as to whether they would get the first 5 or whether it would be CJ. They've just seen Chris Johnson run a 5.99. They have to focus on the job in hand, though, the Vincent team, because if they want to win the season championship, they've got to beat this man, John Nealon. And not a lot of people have done that this season. Todd Vincent, it's the best track he's going to get, and he red lights off the start. He knew he had to get a jump, but John Nealon with work to do as he wobbles around the lane, gets close to the centre line, but look at that, a 5.98 in the other lane. So we've just seen a 5.99 backed up with a 5.98. Both sides of the racetrack are in good condition. And now we see Todd Vincent go beyond the end of the braking area. The chute not coming out early enough for Todd Vincent, but have a look at John Nealon. Just goes slightly left of centre. Not a problem for John Nealon. Another 5.98 shoots out, but look at that, no shoots for Todd Vincent, and he just slows the car on the brakes, but it does go beyond the quarter mile of braking area. He would have been waiting for the pull from the parachute, and it never came. Good save from Todd Vincent, but he is eliminated in the semi-finals. This is what they've come for, the winner's trophy. And with that win in the semi-final, we know that John Nealon has secured the National Point Series and the championship for the series. But it is all about winning the Prestone New Zealand Nationals. The 2 cars have run semi-final passes within 1/100th of a second. Now, 1/100th of a second might not seem a lot, but at 228 miles an hour, that is going to be the difference between first and second at the Prestone New Zealand National. John Nealon in the Digger Dragster has lane choice, and he is elected lane 1, the left-hand lane as the drivers look at it. But it is a whole shot there from Chris Johnson, and John Nealon is not going to get going. He's never going to catch Chris Johnson. Johnson has done it. Chris Johnson has won the Prestone New Zealand Nationals on a day when he ran his personal best and his first ever 5, and John Nealon got it horribly wrong on the start line, not able to hold it on the brake on the start line there. The pressure in the final showing there on John Nealon. He is giving the car what for now, but it's too little, too late. The win is Chris Johnson.
We've run the New Zealand Nationals, that's the 4th year in a row we've won it, so it seems to be a bit of a tradition now. I think I'd like to keep doing it. So, yeah, no, it's the one to win. We had a bit of bad luck, but I think we've learned from it and we've progressed from it. So since we've had the car going again, we did one comp meeting up here and this meeting, and we've done 8 6.0s and 1 5.90. So.
It was a matter about the championship. That's what we set our goal at the beginning of the season, and we managed to achieve it. It was fortunate we had the first round with the bye because we've had a lot of problems this weekend, but we've kept the car going, and we have done it, 5-second passes pretty much every one. Yeah, it was all over after the first round. We staged the car and broke the beams. That was the end of it. We didn't even need to finish the run. It was a shame because we wanted to, but we got it back to the pits here, got it going, and did another 2 rounds.
Well, that's it for the season. The Century UR Power Series for 2009-10 is over. It's been a season of highlights
Yeah, we've had some pretty low ones. Let's not forget what happened to Wellingtonian Parry Hunt. Hearts from our mouths as the car went over, big crash. He's all right. He's hoping to be back in another season, which will be amazing in itself. But fantastic 5-round series.
It's been a hard battle for the racers.
Well, if you've won in this season and you won in the Century UASA Power Series, you've done a tremendous job. Man, it's been so hard.
In a season where we started and we were elated if we got a 5-second top alcohol pass, this season we've had 5 after 5 after 5. To all the champions, congratulations. And here they are. And special note to Andy Chapman, first in New Zealand to win 4 consecutive championships. As we wrap up the 2010 Century UASA Power Series, race teams have 6 months to plan and produce a winning formula to either retain or achieve the championship title, and that endless quest to go faster than you've ever gone before. This has been the Century UASA Power Series of drag racing.
Let's stay with layout V8s. This time it's 2001. It's the World Series of Jetsprinting, the Group A class, and it's from Manfield.
The rugged and beautiful Manawatu region of North Island of New Zealand was the next stop in the journey for World Series Group A competitors. The Jetsprint track is just out of Palmerston North, the 6th largest city in New Zealand. Sport is a national pastime in this green land down under, whether it is rugby football or anything outdoors. Kiwis love their sport, and especially when it's the second and the last round of World Series Jetsprinting Group A.
Jason, round 2. Round 1 wasn't so good. You had some problems towards the end.
Yeah, we worked during the week. We got all the problems that we had last weekend sorted out with the boat. Seems to be working good now. We just got a little bit of tweaking to do, and I think we'll be right in there.
The previous round of WSJ had not been kind to the current points leader, Jason Maxwell. 4th place was not enough. Maybe he could do better at round number 5.
Have you driven here at Manfield before?
No, I haven't. But it's my kind of track. It's similar to Spokane. It's a little bit wider than Spokane, and it's got the longest straightaway I've ever seen, and I like that.
For the long straight of Manfield, power would be important, but so would be experience. And Ian McCavanagh and JD Sawmills has plenty of that. 3rd place at Taupo schooled him for a chance here at round number 5. The Australian driver Kim Sanders was another one to come close to tasting victory at round number 4 in Taupo. But he was expecting things to be a lot tougher in the next round.
It's a little bit different this time to last week. There's a lot more boats up there within the same sort of time bracket. So,
why do you think that is?
Well, I don't know. Maybe they did some work through the week, but it's it's even tougher than last week.
The star of the previous round was Southland farmer Chris Monroe. Monroe was on fire at Taupo, taking out the win. However, he didn't seem so sure of his chances and the opposition at Manfield.
I think these guys, things will change this round. They'll come at us, I think, with everything they've got. So we're just a bit nervous. We'll see what happens.
The sprint course at Manfield is a clay-based course. The starting straight is the longest in World Jetsprinting. The course is a mixture of fast and slow, while the narrowness of the channels likely to cause problems with wake and backwash.
You want good boat speed here. You want a stable boat that's not launching when you're in the air and the boat's bouncing around. The unit's not pumping, so you're not going fast. You want to keep that boat in the water. You want to keep that nozzle straight as long as possible. Enough turn to get round the corner and then get the nozzle straight so the boat's driving forward.
So we're going to tend to see the same sort of people again in the 4s and the 8s?
Yeah, I think so. Certainly in Taupo, the first round of the World Series, we saw a couple of dark horses emerge, and that was really neat to see some faces come through that we weren't expecting. And that's what Group A should be. I mean, it should be, you know, anyone in the top 10, top 12 could go through, and that's how close the racing should be.
Unfortunately for Rex Bryant, it wasn't to be his day. He only managed 13th place, a disappointing result for the popular New Zealand driver. Another one out of the 16 cut was Australian Teresa Parrish. The pace was proven to be very hot. From hero to zero was the story for Ian McCavanagh. 3rd place last week, becoming 14th place this week. As expected, it was a dynamic duo of Jason Maxwell and Thunderjet adapting quickly to the twists and the turns of Manfield.
What sort of hull suits here at Manfield?
At Manfield, it's a tighter track. You've got less room in the corners to take a different line, so a smaller boat, a lighter boat is good here because the corners are tighter, as I said, and you've got better acceleration out of the corners. So it does handicap the bigger boats. Obviously, we're running a bigger boat, but the bigger boats usually have better boat speed in a course like Gisborne, where you've got more flow and you can keep the boat up and the boat's not slowing into the corner. So a light, smaller boat is an advantage here, but again, it's a 3-race series, so we've got to wait and see.
As a boat designer, how do you arrive at the length and the width and the angles of the V's? How do you come to those options?
It's been trial and error. Yeah, there's been, you know, in the early days, you know, I built my first sprint boat 12 years ago. And although I didn't race for a while in between, you know, I've always kept a keen eye, and Brother Peter's, you know, done a lot of development for me, and, you know, he's raced, and I've looked, and we've talked, and we've changed, and played around, and modified, and you know, kept progressively, slowly getting results, and, yeah, it's just been a trial and error thing. You've got to test it on the water. I don't think any computer system can give us the answers out of the box. I think it's just on the water, day in and day out, trialling and testing.
For the New Zealand Open of World Series Jet Sprinting, round number 5, top 8 qualifiers. The only one to be in the 52 seconds, Chris Monroe, followed by Jason Maxwell, Lance Tremaine, Andrew Dalzell, also Brian Smith, Kim Sanders, Trevor Francis, and rounding out the field of 8, Stephen Ditko.
Steve, we're starting to get down to the business end of the day. How's it for you?
Yeah, we're not going so well today. We've got a bit of hull damage, so we'll just see how far we go through.
How did it happen?
Jim had a little off earlier on and got a slight twist there, but I might think some of it might have been there already before the day, so straighten him up for next week. There we go.
So we're into the top 8, and the first to go, Steve and Kelly Ditko from Melbourne in Australia. Ditko's been around the scene for a long, long time, had a little bit of a break, went off for maybe 2 or 3 years, but now back into it. In the boat he's sharing with Jim Bailey. You heard him say there's been a little bit of damage on the boat, but he's going to make the very best of it. You see there the times on the bottom of your screen. There is qualifying time so far. Going to look for a sub 20-second pass, I would think.
Boom, there you go. Split time of a 19:45 for Stephen Ditko. He's not used to being at the number 8 position of a field of 8. He's used to being well into the pack, number 3 or number 4 position, and he knows he's going to have to lay down the pass of the day. Best he's been able to do in the field of 16 was a 54.05. He's got to go a 53, mid-53, to even think about getting himself into the final 4.
I tell you what, Jack, he's probably going to go even faster than that. Remember, Chris Monroe has gone sub 53. Have a look at Ditko. Just look at the way he muscles the boat around the course. Not the smoothest of drivers we've seen. Really getting it on the gas now. His wife, Kelly, sitting beside him, calling the shots. 53.71. I wonder if that's going to be quick enough.
Here at Manfield, they brag about having the longest straightaway in World Series Jet Sprinting. Get a load of this onboard camera, and you are on the track for the longest straightaway. The navigator says, turn turn right, here we go. It is Trevor Francis into the field of 8 with a 54.01. Stephen Ditko had a 19.45 with a split time just prior to him, and he'd like to bury himself way down into the low 53, so almost assure himself a pass into the field of 4. The final 4, 19.48, about 3/100ths of a second slower.
Well, he's on target, Jack. If you see there in round 2 and 3, had some problems. He went aground and he went the wrong way. Navigation, the key here at Manfield. And, of course, they crossed their own weight 3 times. Manfield is a very difficult track to learn as we watch Trevor Francis working his way up into the meat and drink of the course now.
Oh, the onboard shot is just awesome, isn't it? Ground zero, Group A racing here at Manfield. 46 seconds. Trevor Francis has got to go faster than Stephen Ditko. Push. 53.71 was the Ditko time. Not going to happen. 54.38. They're not going to like that one.
So Trevor Francis puts it on the trailer, and we welcome to the Manfield Aquatrack Kim Sanders, another one from Melbourne in Australia's Victorian state. This guy is rated the #1 Group A boat driver in Australia. What can he do? He's got to be looking for a sub 20-second pass. You'll see there, already dipped just into the 53-second mark, so he's there or thereabouts, I would think.
19.46 on the split. Well, so far the 3 split times have all been within 2 to 3/100ths of a second of each other. Kim Sanders, when he's not doing this, out of Victoria, Australia, he's an air conditioning company owner and making sure that your house and your businesses stay cool, just cool like he is on the track. Probably one of the smoothest drivers we've got for World Series jet sprinting.
Well, making his way towards the 3/4 mark here at Manfield, and the time ticking by, but it's looking pretty good for Sanders at the moment. See the way the boat gets very, very close to the islands there. That's something you don't want to do here at Manfield. Waiting to see what the time will be. Will we see a sub 54? We do. 53.72. I don't know if that's going to be good enough either, Jack.
Is the 4 going to be decided by somebody making a mistake?
I believe so, because guys are pushing hard at the moment. As you can hear, it's all going in the background. We're down to the business end of the day, mate, and guys who are on borderline will be really charging, you know. And as I say, we're sitting 5th at the moment. We just won out of the top 4, and as you saw from last weekend, if you make the top 4, mate, anything can happen.
Idling up to the starting line with an American flagman, Corky Lou with the green flag in hand. The Haviland-sponsored Brian Smith boat off and running once again the longest straightaway in World Series jet sprinting here on the infield of Manfield, and it is Brian Smith. Keep your eyes on the split time because everything's been running right in the neighborhood about an 18.45 to 19.50 in that neighborhood. If they can drop it lower than that, then they may be looking at a 52-second pass to get into the field of 4 split time. Here we go. What's it going to be? 19.52.
Well, that's maybe going to be good enough for the man from Taupo. He is Mr. Consistent, Mr. 5th place, if you like, because of the 4 rounds we've had in World Series, he has finished 5th every single time. But with the new Caltex Haviland sponsorship, maybe a little bit more money in the boat, a little bit more time to do some training and some practice, maybe we're going to see a little bit better time from the man from Taupo.
With the completion of this pass, we will have 4 solid times, and then we're going to start throwing people out, putting them on the trailer. Brian Smith, is he going to be there or not to make it into the final 4? His time is going to be, oh man, I don't know if he's going to like that or not.
Well, he's not going to like it, Jack. You'll see on the replay, he's gone the wrong way. And look at this, you'll see the consternation, and the body language tells it all. The co-driver says, look, we've gone the wrong way, and poor old Brian Smith is out. So much for these guys to think about. They've got to be fast, they've got to be smooth, they've also got to get the navigational skills down as well. This is Lance Tremaine from Auckland, been around jet sprinting probably longer than he cares to remember. Great smooth line through the sweeping turn at the back of the course here at Manfield. Big crowd enjoying the action here at World Series round number 5. Coming up to the split time now.
Oh, 19.80 on the split time. That is the slowest split time so far. That is not going to get him into the field of 4. Not at all. Now, a lot of people are wondering, new to the sport, what in the world are they doing? How do they know when to turn? They get themselves a map the night before the race. They study the map. They have to turn on turn 1, island 3, like that. And if you go the wrong way, it will be disqualified.
Well, Jack, we don't see it too often, but we've seen 2 in a row here because Lance Tremaine has done just that. He's gone the wrong way. You'll see there on our graphic. He should have turned right, and he's gone back into the spin-out pool way too early. So that puts the Aucklander on the trailer as well. So 2 wrong ways in a row. Pretty special stuff here at the Manfield Aquatrack. Special stuff coming up too, because this is Andrew Dalzell from the deep south, New Zealand South Island. Been around for for 17 years competing on river courses and also on the closed courses like this, so he's got all the experience in the world. Cylinder Head Services is the boat. We know the boat's capable. Watch for the split time. He's got to be around the 19-second mark.
19.09 on the split time, the fastest one out of the field of 8 so far. Is this mean we're going to see a 52-second pass? Right now we've only had one 52-second pass in the field of 8, and that was Chris Monroe with a 52.47, and it's going to take at least an upper 52 to get into the field of 4, and this may be the pass. He's down on horsepower, but makes it up with finesse and driving skill.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jack, if he can do it, it'll be vindication. They had serious problems at Taupo. Electrical problem put him down in 14th place. Hopefully he can get under the 53-second mark, and we'll see him go further from the 8 to the 4, maybe even to the 2. 52.82. What a time for the man from the South Island.
It's been pretty good. I made a couple little changes to the boat, try to get some more speed out of it. Chris, he's flying, and he's really pushing me to keep up with him. So.
Is it a horsepower thing, or is it, has Chris got the jump there on you? Or?
I think he's just got the jump, and he's got a good working boat, and a combination of horsepower.
To get into the field of 8, it took a 53.16 from Jason and Stephanie Maxwell from Clarkson, Washington, in the Pacific Northwest of America. And off we go with the longest straightaway in jet sprinting for World Series. Oh man, we're talking speeds of 80 miles an hour. You turn it left and take the big high-speed sweeper. Now for the Maxwells, they know they're going to have to camp it in the low 19 seconds on the split time in order to consider themselves fast enough to maybe to get a good enough time to make it into the field of 4. 19.48, that's off just a little bit.
He's really going to have to bring it home now, Jack, but we know he can do it. We talked about Brian Smith being Mr. Consistent with his 5th places. Well, this guy is the current World Series points leader with a 3rd and 2 firsts in the US round and a 4th in the first round in New Zealand, and that was in Taupo. What can he do this time round? Look at the time there. Best time so far.
Probably one of the best camera angles in all of motorsports is the onboard with a jet sprinter. The Maxwells from Clarkson, Washington in America. The Thunderjet looking to put it down into the 52s if they can. Here it comes, 53.23, good enough to make it to the final 4.
Yeah, I like to get out there and get into up to race pace as quick as I can, and then you see where the weights are coming from. You know what you're in for later on. Then, like we know exactly where we're going to hit each wake. And if you go slower and then try and go hard later on, well, who knows where they are.
So another South Islander in the form of Chris Monroe in Hill Point Lumber. We know he can go fast. He won the round in Taupo, first round of the New Zealand swing of World Series. And boy, oh boy, he's already done a sub 52-second run in round number 3. You'll see it there with the little red marker on it. That's the fastest of the day in the Group A boats. Remember, these boats are very evenly matched. Just a 406 cubic inch Chevy motor.
Oh, look at that, look at that, look at that. 18.88 on the split time. That is faster than anybody has gone today in Group A. Does that mean that Chris Monroe is going to throw down a 51-second pass to make it into the final 4? Who knows? Who knows? Anything can happen between now and the finish line. If he takes a corner just too tight and gets that pump out of the water, he's going to get the shore roar. It could be over for him, but at this point, it looks like he's going to be able to make it into the final 4.
Well, Monroe was fast at Taupo, as we told you, and you can see for yourself he's fast here at Manfield as well. Oh, maybe a little bit of a problem there, just picked up a little bit of the island. Let's have a look at it, 52.83. He'll get into the 4, no doubt about it.
Jason Maxwell with Thunderjet with a 53.23. Chris Monroe, number 2, 52.83, and 1/100th of a second. Fastest out of the field of 8, Andrew Dalzell with a 52.82. Early in the morning, all boats get 3 rounds of qualifying at the track, and then you take the fastest 16, you whittle it down to 8, and then you whittle it down to the final 4, and all the times up to this point mean absolutely nothing, and Stephen Ditko knows that, and so does Jason Maxwell and Chris Monroe, as well as Andrew Dalzell. There are 4 boats remaining, and it's almost a hero or zero time, and Stephen Ditko's going to throw the gauntlet down to 19.21 on the split time. Oh, yeah!
It's the fastest he's gone so far up to the split mark. He's been a bit slow coming back though. He did a 53.71, so he's only just cracked the 53s. He's going to need to go a whole lot quicker than that, Jack. Make no mistake about it. The Aussie, though, no stranger to going fast. He's a past superboat driver.
For Stephen Ditko, he's trying to cut the corner. You take 10 inches, you get yourself a tenth of a second. The adrenaline is pumping. He's probably not doing a lot of breathing right now. A mid-52 would be absolutely perfect for him to get him into the finals. 52.86 for Stephen Ditko. Jason Maxwell's on deck.
Can you put pressure on Chris? Chris has been running very fast all day. I'll have to take my hat off to him. He's done an excellent job of driving. He really surprised me, but I'm going to give him my best shot.
Well, the only one of the international Group A boats that made it down from the United States of America to compete in the New Zealand swing of World Series. This is Jason and Stephanie Maxwell in Thunderjet. Have a look at the pace, have a look at the speed as they go down the longest straight here in World Series jet sprinting at Manfield. So the Americans on the journey. Remember, all the times before now mean nothing. The 53s, the 54s they did in qualifying, forget about it. It's sudden death stuff here as they work their way towards the split. They want to be around about the 19-second mark.
Oh, look at the split time for the Maxwells and Christ Washington in America. Now, here's what has happened so far with the Maxwells. After 3 legs of racing in America, in Spokane, Washington, Richmond, Washington, and Marcy, Idaho, they come out as the #1 Group A boat in America. And in order to hold on to that to get into the Final Four today here in Manfield, they're going to have a low 52. There's no other way if Manfield's about it. It's got to be a low 52.
Well, you said a mouthful there, Jack, but they look like they can do it. Look at Stephanie. She's all armed. She's really pumped up for this one. If they can do a 52, maybe they're going to get in. You see the time to beat there? 52.18. So
from now on, those wakes are, they're going to be the challenge. Like, get one wrong and you're out of there. She's all over. So, we're still a wee bit hesitant on, just hitting those wakes right and try and keep the boat in the water first.
Well, as you can hear, he's a little bit concerned about the wakes, but you watch and see what happens here at Hill Point Timber. The horsepower is there, and so is the driving finesse for Chris Monroe. And in front of him is a Stephen Ditko pass of a 52.86, as well as Jason Maxwell with a 52.18. And so at this point, Stephen Ditko is on the bubble with a 52.86. But in order to get himself into the finals to guarantee that, he's going to have to go 52.17 or faster. 18.60 on the split. Oh-ho!
So Monroe on the journey. I wonder what's going through the minds at the moment of Jason and Stephanie Maxwell, because their time of a 52.18 is now under serious threat. We know this guy can do a sub 52. He did it in round number 3. But those times mean nothing now. Unusual to see him not as a top qualifier in the 4. Remember, he won in the first round at Taupo.
Chris Monroe on the pass of the day. Oh, a little bit too close to the shore. That'll take a tenth of a second off. He ran us up an 18.60 split time. It's going to be a 51 second. And now watch this. Yes, it is 51.50 for Chris Monroe.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jack, you want to keep taking those blood pressure pills because I think you've blown the microphone. Big Jack getting real excited here at Manfield as we get set to go with the last man in the top 4. And this is the South Island's Andrew Dalzell. Can he do it? You bet that he can. The Americans, well, if Dalzell can do a good time here, the Americans are back on the trailer and out of it. The South Islanders coming to the 4 here at Manfield. Round number 2 of the New Zealand swing of World Series. Look for a sub 19-second split from Dalzell. Cylinder head services the boat. We know the boat can do it. We know Dalzell can do it.
Oh, look at there. We're going 18.89 on the split time. Not quite the Chris Monroe 18.60 split time. But as it stands right now, Jason Maxwell is on the bubble with a 52.18. If we get ourselves a 52.17 passing from Andrew Dalzell, we'll have a Chris Monroe, Andrew Dalzell final. Look at the onboard shot. Oh, is that awesome or what?
So the New Zealanders putting it to the Americans because Dalzell is throwing this boat round like there's no tomorrow. If he gets under the 52-second mark, see you later, Jason and Stephanie Maxwell. Have a look as they run to the finish line now. 51.90, it's an all-South Island final.
Who gets the quickest 2 into the finals? Of the 2, Andrew Dalzell coming in with a 51.90, and he's back on top of the heap again going into the finals. Chris Monroe with a 51.50.
So we are down to the top 2. We started, we whittled them down to 16, we whittled them down to 8, then they got to 4, and now the pressure comes on because they are down to 2. Phil Dark and Big Jack Armstrong with you, calling the action here at Manfield. The flagman gets them away, and it is full throttle from the 406 Chevy as they work their way down the longest straightaway in World Series jet sprint sprinting history here at the Manfield Aquatrack. Cylinder head services, Andrew Dalzell, he's done a sub 52 second pass. He left it till the very last moment to do it. Has he got more? Let's have a look as they come to the split.
Oh, look at that. 18.94 for Dalzell on the split time. Getting a little loosey-goosey there. It looks like they almost got themselves lost. Now it comes to the point where they're starting to cross over their wings. And with the water maybe dropping just a little bit today, it's going to become one. Oh, into the corner. How did they go? Dalzell's got laid down the path for Chris Monroe to beat. It's a hero or zero situation, do or die right here.
Just past the three-quarter mark here in the final two in International Group A, and Andrew Dalzell is driving the wheels off this boat. Are we going to see another sub 52-second run working their way toward the finish line? 51.49. That's the fastest of the day.
Boy, is this getting exciting or what? The quickest pass of the day was just laid down with a 51.49 from Dalzell. And if ever there was a time to have the best of the best, Hill Point Timber has got to do it right now with Chris Monroe. 51.49. If he goes 50 or slower, he gets second place. And I don't think he wants to get out of here today with a second place. Split time, what's it going to be? How about a sub 19 second? Into the 18 seconds would be great. 18.93 for Chris Monroe.
Well, we know he can win. He won in Taupo, and he's looking pretty good at the moment. You'll see how smooth the boat is. Notice, too, the nose-down attitude. They've got this thing set up perfectly. Now, these guys are friends, but friendship's going to go out of the window here. Both South Islanders and both capable of winning. Chris Monroe, can he do it?
This is what you call jet sprint excitement, World Series jet sprinting style. Chris Monroe and the Maccraft doing everything he can with a Hill Point Timber boat to get it underneath that 51.49. Oh, no! Oh, no! What a heartbreaker. Trying to take the tenths of a second off, and that's what happens. In slow motion, watch what happens once again. Just a little bit too close to the shore, and up he goes. And a tough break for Chris Monroe. Win goes Andrew Dalzell. Oh, tough break. So there you have it. New Zealand, Manfield, round 5, top 2 results for Group A. Chris Monroe spinning out at the end, and Andrew Dalzell picking it up with a 51.49.
It's about pressure, coping with pressure at the top end, keeping the boat in the water, and just keeping your lines nicely. That's what it's all about.
Well, you certainly delivered in that last run.
Well, I had nothing to lose. I was second or first. Didn't really matter, so I always classed that as a good attitude, and today it paid off.
So we take a look at the points board, and it's still Jason Maxwell from the United States leading from Taupo's Brian Smith. Gisborne's Rex Bryant in third place, and the first Aussie in the top 4 is Peter Shearer. Fifth place it's Bert Robertson, Stars and Stripes, Jim Bailey from Australia, and Pat Turner rounds out the bunch.
That's it for us this week. See you next week for more Retro Motorsport.
You'd have to say as we're back on board with the circuit here at Pyra. Here's the race leaders. Oh, and there are all sorts of problems.
Oh, big carnage. Oh, straight to the barriers.